The hotel lobby gleamed under the soft, golden light of the chandeliers. Their glow seemed to melt onto the marble floors, turning them into liquid sunlight. Guests moved with a sense of purpose, a blur of motion and sound, their voices weaving together into the gentle, constant hum of the evening. Behind the grand reception desk, Ava stood, a picture of professional calm. She adjusted the crisp lines of her uniform, her gaze occasionally drifting towards the elegant revolving doors, watching the city's rhythm pulse just beyond the glass. And then, Lena walked in. It wasn't just that she was beautiful. There was something magnetic about her, an energy that pulled the entire room into her orbit. A perfectly tailored navy suit accentuated her form, and her dark hair, rich and full, fell with an effortless grace to her shoulders. She scanned the lobby, a look of being momentarily lost but entirely confident in her expression. The instant their eyes met, the world around Ava went silent. The murmur of voices, the shuffle of feet, the distant city sounds, it all faded into nothing. For a single, suspended heartbeat, Ava forgot where she was, what she was doing. She was just captivated. Shaking herself back to the present, she remembered her role, a soft smile forming on her lips. "Good evening. Welcome to the Rosemont Hotel," she said, her voice quieter than she'd intended, almost a whisper. Lena's answering smile was slow and warm, a sunrise that made Ava's pulse stumble and trip over itself. "Hi," Lena replied, her voice smooth like velvet. "I think I have a reservation. It's under Lena Torres." As Ava's fingers danced across the keyboard, she focused on the screen, trying to steady the frantic rhythm of her breath. But Lena's presence was like its own gravitational field, powerful, undeniable, and pulling her in completely. "Yes, I see it right here," Ava confirmed, her professional demeanor a thin veil over the fluttering in her chest. "You're in room 408. She slid the sleek keycard across the polished countertop. "Enjoy your stay." As Lena took the key, their fingers brushed. It was a fleeting touch, barely a second long. But a spark ignited in the space between them, a tiny, brilliant flash of electricity. Lena hesitated, her gaze dropping to Ava's lips for a fraction of a moment before she cleared her throat, that warm smile returning. "Thanks," she said, her eyes holding Ava's. "You've already made this evening unforgettable." A warm blush crept up Ava's cheeks. She felt exposed, seen in a way she hadn't been before. "I'm glad I could help," she managed to reply, her voice trembling just slightly, betraying the calm she was trying so hard to project. For the rest of the night, Ava threw herself into her work. She answered phones, directed guests, and managed the endless flow of small tasks that made up her shift. But no matter how busy she was, her thoughts were a broken record, circling back to one person, Lena. Her voice, that heart-stopping smile, the way her gaze seemed to linger just a moment too long, filled with a question Ava was too afraid to answer. The hours ticked by, and the lobby slowly emptied, quieting into a peaceful hush. Near midnight, the grand space was almost deserted. Ava found herself leaning against the counter, lost in a daydream, replaying that first moment, that first look, over and over in her mind. The soft sound of footsteps on the marble floor pulled her back to reality. She looked up, and her heart skipped a beat. It was Lena. She'd shed the suit jacket, now wearing a simple, elegant blouse that made her look softer, more approachable. And in her eyes was that same captivating look that had undone Ava hours before. "Couldn't sleep?" Ava asked, her voice a gentle murmur in the quiet room. Lena shook her head, her dark hair swaying with the movement. "No, I thought a walk might help clear my head. But then I saw you were still here. And somehow, walking away didn't feel right." Ava's breath caught in her throat. The air between them grew thick, charged with all the things they hadn't said. The space felt smaller, more intimate. "You probably shouldn't say things like that to the staff," Ava teased, her voice light. But the tremble was back, a clear signal of the storm brewing inside her. Lena stepped closer, the distance between them shrinking until she could rest a hand on the cool marble of the counter. Her eyes were serious, direct. "What if I'm not saying it to the staff, but to you?" For a long moment, neither of them moved. The world seemed to hold its breath. Soft jazz music, which had been a subtle backdrop all evening, now seemed to find the rhythm of their accelerating heartbeats, weaving a soundtrack just for them. "I shouldn't," Ava whispered, her resolve crumbling. "There are cameras." A playful, daring grin spread across Lena's face. "Then let's give them a story worth remembering," she said, her voice a low, thrilling invitation. A quiet laugh escaped Ava's lips, a sound filled with nervousness, excitement, and a feeling of being more alive than she had in years. And then, Lena reached across the counter. Her movements were slow, deliberate. She gently brushed a stray strand of hair from Ava's cheek, her fingers lingering, tracing the line of Ava's jaw with a touch that was both gentle and reverent. The world slowed to a crawl. Ava could feel the radiating warmth of Lena's skin against hers. She could smell her perfume, a delicate, intoxicating blend of jasmine and rain. And when their lips finally met, it was soft, hesitant at first. A question asked, and an answer given. Then it deepened, becoming fuller, more certain, as if they had both been waiting for this exact moment for a lifetime, not just a few hours. Time itself seemed to stop. The chandeliers above shimmered like distant stars, and the lobby was silent, save for the faint melody of the jazz and the sound of two hearts colliding, beating as one. When they finally, reluctantly, pulled apart, Ava's eyes shone with a universe of unspoken emotions. "You know this is completely crazy, right?" she whispered, her voice thick with feeling. Lena smiled, a tender, knowing expression on her face. She brushed her thumb softly over Ava's lips, as if memorizing their shape. Maybe, she agreed. But sometimes the most unforgettable nights are the ones that make no sense at all. Ava let out another soft laugh, resting her forehead against Lena's. The connection was grounding, real. "I'm going to remember this every single time I walk through this lobby." Lena leaned in even closer, her voice barely a whisper against Ava's skin. "Then promise me this won't be our only evening." Ava hesitated, for just a heartbeat, the weight of 1,000 what-ifs and why-nots pressing down. But then she looked into Lena's eyes and saw a future she hadn't dared to dream of. She nodded, "I promise." As Lena walked back towards the elevators, her silhouette framed by the golden light, Ava knew that this night was etched into her soul. It would never fade. Here, in the quiet hum of the lobby, something beautiful and new had just begun, a love that was entirely unexpected, yet already impossible to forget. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this one. We'll see you in the next video.